So when I say nested, the meaning is one item within another item. If I say nested if statement, so one if statement within another if statement is called as nested. Similarly, one for loop within another for loop is called as nested for loop. So for this, if we write the syntax, okay, the syntax looks like this. That is, to write the first for loop, okay, then so opening brace, then second for loop, okay, opening brace. For some statements we will write it, close. So this we can consider it as nested for. So that means, see, if you consider this for loop, so it is present inside outer for loop. So we can consider two for loops. Okay. So whenever we consider opening brace and closing brace in case of programming language, okay, especially in C++, that is nothing but we have to say inside that. Okay, that means inside opening brace and closing brace. Okay, that is starting and ending. Okay, so within this opening brace and closing brace, so we have one more for loop. Okay, and for this also we have opening brace and closing brace. So this for loop we can consider inside outer for loop. So when we have two for loops, see in case of if statement, if I tell if condition and again if condition. So if this is the case, if you write like this instead of statement, if you have two if keywords, okay, so if and also then you need to write two conditions. So I can say condition here and then condition. Okay. So whenever we write the if word, either in English or in programming language, in front of if, whatever we write, it acts like a condition. Okay, that means it will result in either true or false. So in English, if I give the example, if I say if it rains today, that means raining, it is not sure. If it rains, that means either it can be true or false. Similarly, in programming language also, if I write a word if in front of that, we have to write the word condition. Okay. And here, if I write two if words, two if keywords, then for one if you write it as condition 1, and for another one you write it as condition 2. That means you have to make the difference there. Okay. So for two things you should not write condition 1 and condition 1. Okay. So one is called as condition 1, another one is called as condition 2. Okay. Similarly here also, see whenever we come across for loop, okay. So for loop, we have the statements expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. That means three expressions are present for loop. Three expressions. Okay. So when we write the for loop in this format, I am telling you, because in the previous classes I said so different ways of writing for loop. So we can write expression that is initial value before starting the loop, and we can write the increment so that is expression 3 inside the loop. So in that way also we can write the for loop and that will execute. So if you follow this particular format, I am telling you, okay, then you have to write like this: expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3. Okay. Now again, when you write one more for loop, in another for loop also you have three expressions. Okay, because when we write the for loop in this format, then you have to write the three expressions in one line. Okay, so expression 1, expression 2, expression 3. Now in sequence, expression 4, expression 5, expression 6. Okay, so you have to put semicolon. After expression 1 and expression 2, you put semicolon. After expression 4 and 5, you put the semicolon. Okay, so this is nested for loop. So we can consider this as inner for loop. It is present inside one for loop, and this we can consider it as outer for loop. Okay, so one for loop is enclosed in another for loop. Okay, so expression 1, expression 2, expression 3, expression 4, expression 5, and expression 6. Okay, and here see this expression 1 and expression 4 both indicates initialization. Remember, the initialization means giving initial value to the variable. So expression 1 and 4. So you can say exp1 and exp4. Expression 1 and 4 both indicates initialization, giving initial value to the variable. You can consider the same variable or you can consider the different variable. Okay, but generally we will consider the different variable. So we come to know the examples will come to know. Okay, next step. So coming to the expression 2 and 5, so exp2 and exp5, so both indicates conditions. Okay, So both indicates conditions. Okay, here expression 2 and expression 5 both indicates condition. Coming to the expression 3 and 6. Expression 3 and expression 6. So these indicates either increment or decrement process. Okay, increment or decrement process. So expression 1 and 4 indicates initialization, 2 and 5 indicates conditions, 3 and 6 indicates increment or decrement. So actually, a syntax in the sense directly they have given the examples for nested for loop. Okay, but so if we try to understand examples, we may feel a little difficult. So I have done the syntax. Okay, by looking at the examples only, I have done the syntax. Okay. See, there will be many ways of writing the things. So one general format will be there. Depending on the requirement, depending on the application, we can write in different ways. Okay. In the previous different ways of writing for loop. Similarly, different ways of writing nested for also it is there. Okay, and different ways of writing if statement is also there. Okay. The thing is, some rules you have to follow. You should not put semicolon after the condition in case of if and while. Like okay, you have to follow some rules. So now coming to the nested for, first we try to understand this format. So how it works. Okay. See, in this case, the first step of execution is exp1. Okay, that is initial value. Initial value to a variable of first for loop. So we have to give the initial value to the variable of the first for loop. So this is the first step to be executed. And here one point to remember, this step will not be repeated. It is executed only once. Executed once. It is not repeated. Okay, remember this point. Expression 1 will be executed only once. Okay. Next, the second step is exp2. So that is condition of first loop. So here just I write the loop is understood, it is followed. Condition of the first loop, this is the second step. Now coming to the third step, it is not expression 3. Here it is very, very important to understand. First step is expression 1, that is giving initial value to the variable of the first loop, that is executed only once. Okay, then second step is expression 2, which is the condition of the first for loop. Third step, it is not expression 3. So this point you have to remember when you write the example, when you try to trace the example for complete program. This point is very, very important. You should not go for expression 3. What you have to do is this entire for loop is there, right? So this you have to consider it as the third. Okay, that means the third step, second for loop is executed. Second for loop is executed. So when second for loop is executed, how it is executed that we know. Okay. So whenever you come to the for loop, you remember the for loop concept. So it will be easy for you to understand. You don't worry whether I am writing one for loop or two for loop or three for loops. Don't worry. When you come to the for loop, you just understand the concept of for loop. It will become very easy. Now we are in this for loop, this second for loop. You just consider this for loop. That means you just close this. You just think that above for loop is not there. So if you think like that, then we know already how for loop would work. We know that is initial value of the variable, condition, statements of the loop, increment and increment. Okay, initial value of the variable, condition, statements of the loop, increment or decrement. And these three processes will be repeated. Okay, that is expression 5, statements of the loop, increment or decrement. Expression 5, statements of the loop, increment or decrement. This process keeps on repeating until this condition becomes false. That is expression 5. Okay. So when we come to the third step, how to understand this? In the third step, again we can make one step here. That is, we can say subdivision. In the third is the main step. Okay, in third step, again, first step we can consider. Okay, in the third main step, first subdivision is like exp4. So this exp4 will be executed. That is initial value to a variable of second loop. initial value to the variable of second value. See, whenever I write just write loop, you consider it as for loop. So in general, I am writing it is applied for all while loop, do while loop, and for loop. With respect to this topic, you remember that is the for loop. Okay. Okay, expression 4 will be executed. Okay. Now you just understand after executing initial value to the variable of the for loop, to which step we go to the condition. Okay. So here condition is expression 5. So you remember 1 and 4 initial value, 2 and 5 expression 2 and 5 conditions, 3 and 6 incremental. So again, third main step, second step is exp5. So that is condition of second loop. So here you have to use variable of the first loop, condition of the second loop, increment or decrement process of the second loop. Right? Okay, variable of first loop, condition of the first loop, increment and decrement of the first loop, variable of the second loop, condition of the second loop, increment or decrement process of the second loop. Right? You have to mention that particular loop. So when you are mentioning the variable, when you are mentioning the condition, and when you are mentioning the increment or decrement process, you just mention that loop, to which loop it refers. So variable of the first loop, condition of the first loop, increment or decrement process of the first loop. Same way, variable of the second loop, condition of the second loop, increment or decrement process of the second loop. So here, condition of the second loop is executed. See, after executing the condition, again don't go to increment or decrement step, because expression indicates increment or decrement step. Don't go to increment or decrement step. You just look at this arrow point. You will come to the statements. So here we write the statements. Statements of second loop. The statements of second loop indirectly depends on first loop, because it is present inside the first loop, right? It is present inside the first loop, so we can say indirectly it depends on the first loop. So now directly we can refer it is the statements of second loop. So you can consider third step in this. So let me take ABC numbers. So step A, B, and C. Okay, that's the third step. Statements of second loop. Okay, so after the statements of second loop is executed, next we will go for the expression 6. That is taking increment or decrement process. That we can take it as point number D. Okay, that is exp6. Either it can be increment or it can be decrement. Either it can be increment or it can be decrement. So after expression 6, we come to the expression 5. Okay, because expression 4 will be executed once whenever program control comes to the second loop. Remember, expression 4 is executed only once whenever program control comes to the second loop. Okay. Now, once in the second loop, once one round is finished, one process is finished, till it reaches increment or decrement process. When that is completed, again you have to go to the expression 5, that is condition. See, after expression 6, what happens? It will come to the D, that is condition. This is normal for loop working. That is after increment or decrement process in the for loop. Remember this point. After increment or decrement process in the for loop, it will come to the condition. So you see where is the condition? In expression 5, there is a condition. After condition, we go for the statements of loop. After statements of loop, again we go to the increment or decrement. Again move to the condition. That means, so what I can say is B, C, and D will be repeated. B, C, and D will be repeated. Many times it will be repeated till this condition becomes ready. Till exp5, that is condition becomes false. The condition becomes false. I hope here people have understood. I'll give 1 minute time, you just go through the steps. It's a very low class because in the next chapter we have one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array concept. Remember, one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array concept. In one-dimensional array, we use one for loop. That is, one loop is enough. Either it may be while loop, do while loop, or for loop. In two-dimensional array, we need two loops. Either you can use while loop or do while loop or for loop. Generally, we use the for loop. So if you don't understand correctly the concept of two for loops, then two-dimensional array concepts you will not get it. You cannot understand. So only definition and syntax example you can understand, but to write a program for two-dimensional array, you require the concept of nested for. So you 1 minute time, you just try to understand all the steps. So if you have any doubt, you can ask. Still the process is there, but you can say 70% it is completed. You just try to understand. But till here, if you have any doubt, you can ask. Any step if I want to repeat for you. Okay? Just go through once. Okay, fine. So we'll move further. So now I'll ask one question for you. See, when condition of the second loop is false, second loop will terminate. Okay, that is correct, because whenever we consider the looping statement, remember this point, either it can be while loop, do while loop, or for loop. Looping statement will stop working when either condition should become false or there should be break or exit statement. Remember this point. Whenever we use the looping concepts, looping statements, either it can be while loop, do while loop, or for loop. Looping statements, that means while loop, do while loop, or for loop will stop working. That means it will terminate when break statement is used or the exit statement is used or condition should become false. Three cases we can consider. Either break should be used inside the loop or exit function should be used inside the loop, because break will terminate the loop, exit will terminate the program itself. So if program itself is terminated, then we can say loop is also terminated, because we write all code in program, right? While loop we write in a program, do while loop, for loop we write in a main program. So if the exit function is used, main function itself is terminated. So total program will be terminated. So we can say loop is also terminated. And if break statement is used, only loop is terminated. Program will be still executed. So these are the two cases. So another case is when condition itself becomes false. Okay, when condition itself becomes false, then also loop will be terminated. So here we are not using break or we are not using exit. So two cases we will not consider. Only condition. So when this condition becomes false, second loop, that is whatever the loop present inside the second loop, that is inside loop will be terminated. Okay. So once the termination of second loop is done, what happens next? Can anybody tell me? Whether complete nested for itself is terminated or only second loop is terminated. You just take on this. The question is whether complete nested for two for loops are also terminated or only second loop is terminated. So in this case, we can consider only this loop is terminated and then still first for loop is not terminated, because first for loop condition we have written in expression 2. First for loop condition we have written in expression 2. Okay. So first for loop expression a condition is written in expression 2. So still that condition is true. It is not false. So first for loop is still working here. Only second for loop becomes terminated. Okay. So when second for loop is terminated, what happens is, see, this point is very important. When second for loop is terminated, what happens is it will go to the increment step of first for loop. It will go to the increment step of first for loop. So that is the word where is increment still are not written here. So here you have to write fourth step, that is the main step. So these are the sub points. What we can say third main step, these are the sub points, because this is second for loop. So fourth step will come across. This fourth step is nothing but increment or decrement of first loop. Increment or decrement of first loop. So from entire for loop we go to the increment or decrement of the first loop. Okay, understood? So once again I will tell you, just understand, try to understand. Expression 1 will be executed first. It is executed only once. Once it is executed, you need not write again that step in any way. Then expression 2, that is condition of the first for loop. If it is true, you come inside the second for loop. When you come inside the second for loop, you start from the initial value. Initial value exists in expression 4. Okay. So expression expression 4 is executed. After expression 4, expression 5 is condition. After expression 5, don't go to increment or decrement, come to the statements of the loop. After statements of the loop, go to the increment or decrement, that is expression 6. Once increment or decrement process is done in for loop, you start with the condition B, C, D in order it is executed. So step B is executed, after that C, after that B, again B, C, D, B, C. So in this way it is repeated. Repeated many times till condition becomes false. So condition is present in expression by till it becomes false. Once the condition is false for the second loop will be terminated and it will go to the first loop because still condition of the first for loop is true. So when it goes to the first for loop, then you have to consider increment or decrement. So one more thing I will tell you. Why you have to consider increment or decrement step here I will tell you. You just see the above points. Anywhere have written increment or decrement of first for loop. You just read out the statements, points. Nowhere from point number 1 till here B, you see, are not written increment or decrement of first for. So in that way also you can remember. So you write increment or decrement of first for. That is the fourth step. Okay. So once this is done, increment or decrement of the first for, what you have to do is, you just try to understand here. See what you have done after increment or decrement here. You just look at the arrow. After increment or decrement, what I have done? We are going to the condition. Okay. After increment or decrement process, we are going to the condition. Similarly here also. After increment or decrement of the first problem, you just look at the loop number. Okay, first loop. So after increment or decrement of the first loop, you go to the condition of the first loop only. So that condition of the first loop is present here. See, condition of the first loop. Understood? Is it okay? So increment or decrement process of the first for loop, after it is completed, you go to the condition of the first loop only. Don't go to the condition of the second loop because you see which increment or decrement process you are considering. See, here we are considering the increment or decrement of second loop. So increment or decrement process of second loop. So because you are considering the second loop, you have to go to the condition of the second loop. So here we are considering the increment or decrement of the first for loop. So you go to the condition of the first for loop. Okay. So when you go to the condition of the first for loop, if that is true, remember if that is true, all the steps one more time is repeated. If this condition is true, listen. If this is true, so if this condition is true, okay. Okay. So if this condition is still true, all these steps are repeated one more time. What are those? Third main step inside that again A is repeated. Here, what I said, actually initial value of the variable will be executed only once. I said correct. But if it is only one for loop, then we can say initial value of the variable what we have given, that is executed only once. When we have two for loops, whenever program control comes inside the second loop, initial value of the second loop will be executed again. Remember this point. Whenever the program control comes inside the second loop, initial value of the variable of the second loop will be executed one more time. That means each time, whenever the program control comes inside the second loop, that statement is executed. Okay. So after it is executed, it is not executed. Like that. So again, see after this expression 2, 3 in 3 again A, B, C, D, and again in A, B, C, D, B, C, D repeated. Again when condition comes first, increment or decrement, again it will go to the second step. Okay. In this way, two for loops will be repeated. Many times it will be repeated. Until when? Until this should become false. That is expression 2. Until expression 2 becomes false, these things will be repeated. Second step, third step, and again third step. A, after A, B, C, D will be repeated many times. Once the expression 5 becomes false, increment or decrement of the first for loop, again you have to go to the condition. Again, second step, third step. In this way, it keeps on repeating. Two for loops will be executing in this manner. Okay. Once expression 2 becomes false, we can say it comes out of the entire nested for loop structure. So, end of nested for loop. end of nested for loop. So when expression 2 becomes false. Okay. See, one more time I will explain, just try to understand, because in two-dimensional array program, compulsory you have to understand this concept. Without nested for loop concept, you cannot understand two-dimensional array program. So that is in the next chapter, it is there. Okay. Just try to understand here. See, when we have more than one loop, how you have to understand this? First, you consider the initial value of the first for loop, that is first loop. Next, condition of the first loop. Next, don't go to the increment or decrement step of the first loop. You come inside the second loop. Inside the second loop, again, initial value of the second loop, initial value of the variable of the second loop. Then, condition, statements of the loop, increment or decrement, repeated. These three steps are repeated in the second loop until condition of the second loop becomes false. Once the condition of the second loop becomes false, you go to the increment or decrement process of the first loop. After increment or decrement process of the first loop, you go to the condition of the first loop. From condition of the second loop, you start, that means, again, from that step till the increment or decrement of the first loop, those steps are repeated many times until the condition of the first loop becomes false. Once the condition of the first loop is false, it will come out of the nested for structure. I hope everybody got this. You can take a screenshot of this, because in the notes what I have done, like a paragraph I have done. Points wise it is there, but somewhat I don't know. These steps, I think it may be clear for you. If you try to take the screenshot and try to understand, it will be clear for you. You can follow the notes also. Just try to take the screenshot. So whenever you read this concept on your own, try to understand this. Okay. So I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes. You just take the screenshot of this. Meanwhile, if you come across any doubts, you can ask. So any step if you have not understood. So if you have not understood any step, you can ask, or once again, if you want me to explain, I will explain. We just chat and tell everyone, so it is clear. That means people have understood. So if you want me to explain once again, I will do it. Clear? Okay. So